Hi, folks. I know you're working on choosing topics for the annotated bibliography to get started here pretty soon, and I just wanted to talk to you real quickly about some topics that students have presented to me in my face-to-face classes that didn't make my initial list, some things that I think would work out really well, and maybe it'll give you a better sense of how I think about the topics. So, for example, if you don't see exactly what you want, say under option 1, you like some things that are close, but they're not exactly Sasquatch or alien visitation and abductions, or hauntings. Um, for example, several students have come to me about working on something like the Loch Ness Monster. Clearly, that fits in tremendously well. It's along the same lines as Sasquatch, a cryptozoological phenomena for which there have been ample studies and research, and you'll find plenty of narratives. Um, a good way to think about this, if you want to suggest to me a topic that's not exactly what I've offered you, is that it needs to be specific enough in what you're looking for regarding the narratives that you're not just, you know, looking at everything. You have to have something where you can focus on. Um, at the same time, it has to have enough breadth that when you go in to find the research, there'll be more than just one or two articles, or there'll be more than just one or two angles, where you have to be able to find something that's got enough breadth. So that's where something like a Loch Ness Monster will work really well, whereas I had a student come to me and want to do something along the lines of sea monsters. And I felt that sea monsters, while that would be suitable in terms of looking for narratives, so I allowed him to go ahead with that in terms of narratives, when it comes to the research that he does, I think what he's going to find is that the vast majority of that is related to the Loch Ness Monster. So you have to kind of be careful about how you construe these things. Other really good topics that people have brought to me, I have a student who wants to do some lost civilization work, so he's going to look primarily at Atlantis, but think about it more broadly. Again, Atlantis probably a little bit too narrow, so think about it a little more broadly. Lost civilizations. Focus on Atlantis, but be able to bring in other civilizations, Pompeii, and some other things like that when you're doing the research. So that works well. I had a student who was interested in just sort of approaching philosophical positions, so he wanted to see what do various cultures, what kind of stories do they tell to explain the meaning of life, something he was interested in, tremendously philosophical sort of project. That will be really, really difficult because what are the narratives that you're looking for? I mean, you could find scholarship on that probably, but what would you use for narratives? So my suggestion to him was to use myth and to use origin myth particularly because the way we conceive of our origin, where we began as a race or as an individual even, tremendously impacts our understanding of the meaning of life or of our purpose here. So he's going to look for those origin myths, various cultures. He'll look at the Bible, what the Bible says about creation. He'll look at scientific theories. What is the Big Bang theory, the various theories that are out there now. The Big Bang's not real popular anymore, but those, he's going to look at some Eastern philosophy. He's going to look at some Native American origin myths. So that's the way to think about it, right? You have to have something where you're going to have a restricted enough set of narratives that you can find some really good stuff. And then at the same time, it has to be broad enough so that when you do the research, you're not finding this very, very specific set of research. You've got enough that you can discuss. Other topics that people have presented I think are going to work well. Zombie apocalypse, I think is great. Just about anything with zombies would fall into that category 1. Vampires work roughly the same way as a zombie in terms of the way, I know that's the same, but they work roughly the same in terms of the project. Right? So those work well. So again, if you've got something that you think you really want to do, and it doesn't seem to fit in exactly with one of the categories that I've prescribed, please feel free to contact me about that. I want you to be able to work on something you really enjoy. I don't want you to work on something that's not going to be successful.